God gives everybody struggle. And my opinion on it, I feel like um he's always teaching us a lesson in every situation he puts us in. Um for me, um I like the journal, so I just want to talk. God gives everyone struggle. Toughest soldiers is the ones who fight through the battle when nothing is left. And for me, that can be anything. It could be working out and you're tired and you don't feel like working out. It could be cold outside and you have to go somewhere and you don't really feel like going, but you do it anyways. Um, and just little simple things like that, little struggle, little pain that should put you further, and it should change your perspective in certain aspects, and you should learn from it and want to grow and prosper. Um, the weaker people face the same battles. They typically tap out faster because they can't handle the pressure. This could result into people committing suicide, could people just not fulfilling their dreams or whatever goals they have, being angry at the world, being frustrated all the time, being just a dark cloud over them just constantly because they have all these things that's being thrown at them and they don't realize that it's just a test, and you're supposed to look at it like a lesson and you're supposed to grow from it and reflect and think about how can I get out this situation. So that's the way I look at that. uh I'm glad to say the women in my family is some strong soldiers. I've witnessed their struggle, pain, anger, tiredness, and frustration, yet they pulled through. For me, I've done witness my mom, my grandmother be angry, frustrated, tired, exhausted, everything above. And yet I still see them do what they got to do every single day. And for me, I look at that as like, how could I not do the same? I don't know. For me, it's like growing up, I always seen more of the women being like the soldiers and the ones with the pants, and they're the ones that take on most of the battles, the challenges, the bills, everything that life has to throw at you as an individual, as a person, as a human. And I watch majority of people around me, usually the women that face those battles. So for me, the women in my family and the people around me is typically the women that's the soldiers. Um, those soldiers are people that can handle anything thrown their way and continue to move forward. I'm glad I witnessed it because it shows me how strong my family is, especially the women. My mom is a tough person. I see a lot of frustration on her face. I hope she know I want better for myself, and I hope that I make her proud somewhat in the near future. I think sometimes, like for me, most of the time, I was like lost a lot when I was like 19, 20, and still have lost moments, but I'm working at it and trying to be better, trying to create better habits for myself and do different things. Um, and seeing how my family struggle in general, like, like probably majority of my whole life existence. And just a simple fact of like you going through something with money, and you have to tell someone you can't, or you're giving somebody something knowing you don't have the money to do it. And when you're a kid, you don't understand it from that perspective. You're just begging, you're crying, you want your mom or you want your dad to just give you whatever you ask for. And women, and typically the women in my family, they usually, they try to make a way. They try to give it to you. They try to give you what you want. And usually that results in some other situation, whether they can't pay a bill on time or whether they have bills backed up and they can't get you what you want, and you're a frustrated kid, so you get angry, you get pissed off, you're like, oh, I wish we had more like money and things of that aspect. And if we was taught more about the morals and what's important to have and what's needed from a younger age, I feel like, especially me, if you're taught those things, you will grow up not valuing so much things that don't matter as much. Shoes, Jordans, the way I look at it in the real world, they're not really that valuable because you could buy it again. Valuable things to me is things you can't just buy again. You can't buy, you know, a person mindset. You can't buy their character. You can't buy inner work they've done within their self. You can't buy stuff like that. You could buy shoes, Jordans, clothes that you like, and all those things all you want and still be an asshole. So for me, I mean, it's just little things like morals and being a little bit more spiritual that I feel like if I was taught that at a younger age, I would have a little bit more understanding, through my teen years and everything in that sort. Now I'm 21, so I'm starting to find myself more as an individual and do a lot more research by myself, I would say, and try to gain more of a understanding and sticking to my own opinions. I feel like when you're a kid or you're a teenager, you have a lot of opinions or you have statements that you want to voice out, or you do voice out, and maybe you don't know how to say it correctly. Maybe you don't know how to articulate yourself, so it comes out as frustration or it comes out as anger. And for me, most of the time, I feel like that's what I would go through. I'll be trying to explain something, and I'm not always right. I'm a human. I'm not perfect, and I feel like sometimes our egos as people, we want to be right so bad that we be like, "Oh no, you're wrong." And for me, it's like what I'm starting to learn is life is more about learning and taking things in, but you don't have to listen to everything somebody says because they don't know everything. I don't know everything. You guys don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. All you can give is what you know. And usually when, for me personally, if I gave an opinion or a statement and it would be something particularly like that wasn't liked, it will come out as anger towards me. And I would never be trying to come off as being rude or disrespectful with certain topics that I would talk about or certain statements that I would push out. But maybe I didn't know how to articulate it in a certain way to where it was more understanding in things of that aspect. And those are things that I'm still learning. But for me, the toughest soldiers is the people that push through even when things is thrown at them. God gives us all battles. Every person in this on this earth, he throws a battle at. It's some people that push through it and they're soldiers and they handle their business, and there's some people that it's probably just too much for them, and they commit suicide, they overdose on drugs or whatever happens, typically happens. But a lot of it all starts from when you're a young kid and you need that guidance and you need the moral support, the spiritual support, mind, body, and soul. All those come in hand together. So that's things I'm starting to learn. Um, yeah, that's all I really got right now. Peace.